Alright, so now that we've finished the basic landscape, let's come to the important stuff, which is how do we start scattering our trees and grass. So what I want to do is first let's just change the color. So I'm going to change the color back to like something like this is fine, like gray is fine. Okay, so we're not going to do anything particularly fancy. All of the stuff that we need is actually built into the group nodes itself. So we've done basic groups, so we're just going to see more options within that. So we need two separate groups. We need one group which will select like the flat areas, and we need another group that will select some stuff on the slope but till a particular level, okay, like not below that. So what we'll do is we're going to take first let's select the flatlands. Okay, so I'm going to take a group and we'll call it flat. Okay. And we're selecting primitives, but we're going to select based on normals. So what this does is it essentially selects based on like a normal angle. Okay, so turn on enable, and by default its direction is set to Y and its spread angle is 180. So it's selecting like everything. So as you start to lower the 180, you'll start noticing a change. See, there you go. Like let me do one thing. Let me change the color to black or something darker so you can see it. There you go. See. So everything that is falling below like a spread angle of 60 degrees is what is being selected. So if we change this to the y-axis is when it becomes useful. Okay, so as I start to lower this, you'll see it go down. See, there you go. Okay, so all the vertical areas are gone and it's just selecting like flatlands. So this is fine. Like this is what we want. We want like it to be in all like the flat areas. You can go lower still. And like if you want to like really flat areas, then we can just define that. Yeah, I think this is okay. Now the next thing we want is we don't want anything below, like anything in the riverbed. So we're going to take a group by expression. And the way this works is you give both of them the same name. So this group is called flat. So this one also will be called flat. And we'll plug this in. And the simple function is, no, sorry, I took the wrong one. Take a group by expression. Yeah, so group expression. And the group name is flat. And what I want to do is I want to say at p.y, which is y position, is less than 0. And you'll get that. So everything that is below 0 is getting selected. But what I want to do is I want to subtract this from the existing group, which is why they both need to have the same name. Okay, so if you have the same name, then all I have to do is I say subtract from existing, and there you go. So now here's the fun part, right? Like if I come to the displays and I make changes, you'll see like that keeps adjusting. So you have now defined like all the flat areas that need to be selected. Okay, so now we've done this much. I need to, what I want to do is I want to blend it a little so I can control like the density of it. So I'm just going to take a color. Yeah, now do this, make this black, because we're going to use this to like, define the density area for scattering points. Okay, so we're going to take this, plug it in here, and this will be flat. Okay, and let's make this as red so we can define where this is supposed to be. And the next thing I want to do is I want to blur it a little bit. Okay, let me just take this and bring it down even more. Okay, so I'm going to type in blur, so you'll get something called attribute blur. So just take the attribute blur and we want to blur the color. So type CD and there you go. So you can like blur the color. Yeah, I think this is okay. And we can now set the scatter to the color, or we can transfer this to like a density attribute and set it based on density. So just to sort of do that, we'll take a wrangle and let's call this as set density. And what you do is we create a float attribute called density. So f at density is equal to at cd.r. Okay, and then we take a scatter and we scatter points and we say set by density attribute, and there you go. So now we can just increase this a little bit to about 4 or 5,000. Yeah, relax iterations should be about 2 or 3, so it's a little more random. But there you go. This is fairly, and like here's the cool part. So if I come to the displace and I make some adjustments, like if I make this flatter, like if I take this and I make it, see, so as it gets flatter, you get like more area to be selected, and as it gets taller, you'll see like the area gets reduced. So as I increase this value as well, see, so you can define your flatlands that way. Okay, so these are the flatlands. Now the second thing we want to define the tree line. Okay, so the technique is roughly the same. So we want to take a group and let's call it as trees. Okay, no, sorry, wrong place. Yeah, so group name. So call it trees, and we do the same thing. So now what we want to do is we want to select, like firstly we want to select like a wider range and then subtract it from like a lesser range. So I'll do keep by normal and the same thing, like 1 and 0, and I want to select about like that much. But then what I want to do is I want to take like all the flat area and subtract it from here. Okay, so we're going to take like say about that much, and then I'll do Control C, Control V. Here I'll make it subtract from existing and just lower this value. See, so now we can define. So this is my tree line. See, so now all the flat areas are gone from that. We can also like lower this. Yeah, see, so this way you can define like the tree line. Now the other thing we want is again like the same thing from here, which is we don't want trees inside the river. So I'm going to do like Control C, Control V, change the name to trees and plug it in. See, so all the stuff below is gone, but maybe a little more. So let's make it 0.1. Yeah, so it sort of cuts out even more area. So you can adjust, like if I want it to be like 0.2. So we're like actually cutting off, like we don't want any trees below that. Or 0.15 should be good. Yeah, so this is fine. Then the rest is the same. So we take all of this, do Control C, Control V. And if we plug this in, we should, like just to show you what's going to happen, is this will be called trees. Yeah, so this is my tree line, and then set up an attribute, and there you go. So these are the trees that we have. And so if we adjust the height of this, it'll actually like make sure that the trees don't go to slopes that are too high. See, so we're not getting anything here. You can adjust it more, like if we come to the color, see, so you're not getting like anything on these areas. Maybe adjust the blur a little. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, see, so we're not getting like anything on those areas. So make it 3. I think 3 was good. Yeah. Okay, so now now that we've done that much, like we can do one more thing if we want over here. Okay, like we can create another group. So if we want to create a group based on, like crevices, like let me just make this a little gray for now. Yeah, so let's say we don't want anything in the cracks, or maybe you want to define like water or something. Then you can also do a group based on like minimum angle. So if you take a group, another one, and let's just say include by edges and say minimum angle, see, there you go. And you can sort of like lower it or increase it to define like, like these are like your cracks. So you can sort of do stuff like that as well. Or you can try like maximum angle and then lower this. Yeah. So yeah, so you can sort of like define. And if you want more detail, then just come to the remesh below the grid and make it lower. So 0.03, it'll give us like more detail. It'll take a little bit of time to calculate the remeshing. Yeah, see, okay, I think that's too low. 0.04 should be fine. So yeah, so if you want to like control areas like, okay, we don't want, or we want like water or stuff in these areas, or you want to do like moss in these areas, then you can do stuff like that. Okay, but we don't want to do that right now. Okay, so this is done. So this is my basic scatter. Yeah, I think that should be okay. I'm never entirely happy with whatever scattering is going on, so I keep sort of changing it. Okay, so if you also want to do something like maybe I don't want anything, any grass over a particular value, like here, since it's going by slope, it's saying like, okay, this has lesser slope, so I can put in some grass there also. So what you can do is like within the height expression that we are using, we can make it slightly more complicated, or not complicated, but what you can do is you can use an AND. Okay, so an AND is essentially this function, like that is AND. Okay, so we say at p dot y less than 0 and maybe at p dot y greater than 0.5. So only between that range is what we are selecting. So what will happen is, see, so everything that is over 0.5 also gets deleted. Like if I come to this expression and we just do replace, see, this is what we're selecting. So we're selecting everything below 0 and everything over 0.5. So when we subtract it from our existing group, that's what we get. So we don't get any grass over, like the top peaks won't get any grass at all. Okay, so we've done that. Now let's set up, like let's do one more thing to set up like colors. So what I can do is, let's take a warp again. So let's take an attribute warp. Let's call this random color. Yeah, and this is fairly simple, right? So what you want to do is we want to randomize the color based on the point numbers, but we also want to generate like a seed value for it. So we're going to do like both those things. So we're going to take a random. So you get a node called random, and we want a float input. So we want to convert the point number to a float value. So just take, so point number is integer. So type in integer and you'll get something called integer to float. So plug in the point number to integer, plug that into position, and this goes into color. And see, what you'll get is like black and white, which is essentially what we want. We'll color it later. So do black and white, but as I said, like we want to also get a seed value. So if we add something to the point number, that will work as a seed value. So just type in parameter, take a simple parameter. Let's call it seed. Okay. And we are going to add that to this. So what will happen is if you come up, you'll have this thing called a seed value, and as you change it, okay, it goes into integer values. So let's do one thing, change this to integer, and yeah, range is fine. So what will happen is like, see, I can go like 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll see the seed value change. Okay, and we can do Control C, Control V for this one. So they'll both be like that. Now what I want to do is I want to set up some color. So just take a color. Okay, now we want to set it based on the existing color. Okay, so what you do is you change the color type from constant to, you can say random from attribute, which is not what we want, but we'll do like, and we can say attribute is CD. So see, now it's, you know, it's randomizing based on that. That isn't what we want. We want to say ram from attribute. So what it does is it takes the incoming color and then we can set it to whatever. So let's do like a light green and a yellow or something like that. Yeah, okay. Okay, and then I want to do a couple of things, which is firstly I want to assign like a p-scale value to it, which will allow me to control the size of it. So take something called as an attribute randomize. Okay, this allows you to, like, if you're coming from ice from Softimage, then Softimage used to have like a random node. This is the random node. So just plug this in, and the attribute we want is p-scale, and it is a float value, so it will be, dimension will be 1, and minimum value should be 0.3, and we want to global scale, make it pretty small, so make it about 0.1. So minimum value 0.2, maximum value 1 multiplied by 0.1. So, you know, you're doing between 0.02 to 0.1, like that's your overall range. And then I can just take a simple sphere. We can later on replace this with like grass or whatever. Okay, but for now we'll just take a sphere and say copy to points and plug this in, and there you go. Okay. If you want to go lower, we can go lower, like we can make this smaller still, and we can increase the scatter value to something higher, like turn off relax iterations. No, let it be. Let's keep relax iterations. Just increase it till we get like, you know, more density, and let's try 0.03. Oh, that's too small. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay. So this is my basic grass. And what I want to do for the trees is I just want to use like a box. So let's take a box. Okay. And that's pretty big. So make it small. Yeah. And it should be above the grid. So we're going to take the size in the y-axis, do copy parameter and paste relative reference divided by 2. So this is that. And then just take a bend. Maybe also give it a little more height. Yeah. Okay. So take a bend, and this will be like by default it faces in like the Z direction. What we want is we want up vector in the X and capture direction in the Y. So this is my this is the basic taper tool. Like it has taper, bend and twist inbuilt. So it's a bit too much, but there you go. Okay, so lower the capture length till it is the size of the box. And then we can just use and lower the guide scale. You know, this is not important, but it just shows you the guide. And then we can just taper it down. So this is fine. We might want to go smaller later, but okay. And then take the color, do a copy paste for the trees as well. Just different colors. So we'll make this like, you know, here and like a dark green. Yeah, okay. And then we want to do the same thing. So Control C, Control V, like attribute randomize and copy to points. Okay, this is too small. So let's take the global scale and increase it till we are happy. We need more. Yeah, we also need more points. So let's take the scatter, turn off the relax and just increase it till you're happy with it. Okay, if you also want to do random rotation, okay, so let's call this as random size. If you want to do random rotation, you can take another randomize. Yeah, by default it randomizes color. So we change it to something called orient, which is for rotation. Orient is a quaternion, so you need to go to like 4. By default it goes in all axis. We only want it to be in the Y. So make all of these 0. Yeah, there you go. So we are only spinning in the Y axis. See. So now you have like random rotation. And if we merge these two guys together, we should get what we want. And then if I bring in the landscape, okay, like let's do like an alt click here and bring in the landscape, and there you go. Okay, I think we have a, yeah, let's just set the color again to something gray. Yeah, there you go. Okay, now here's the fun thing, right? So what you can also do is all of these things that we had used for selection, we can also use them to set colors. Okay, so if I take the same group here and the color, we'll do like, okay, first let's set up the tree color and then we'll set up this. So if I take all of this, do Control C, Control V and drop that in there and like get rid of this color. See, so what we should get is we'll get this. Except let's set a standard color first. So let's say the basic landscape will be like a dark gray. And so we want our trees to be like a dark green or something. And you can define like if you want a little more area to be covered, then we can probably like increase or decrease the spread angle. See. And then the same thing here. So just pick up like all of this, do Control C, Control V and drop it in there. See, except maybe a little more. So we can take this group and increase it. See, so we can sort of like define, and this should be like a green. Yeah. And then just to build the river, I can take a group by expression and call it river, and the same thing. So do at p.y less than minus 0.1. See, so we're selecting that much, or minus 0.2, and take a color and this will be the river, and we'll make it blue. And then you can just give it like an attribute blur to just blend everything together. So I can just take this and increase it. Sorry, CD. Yeah, there you go. See, so I can just adjust. And I can define like those values here, you know. See, so I can just define like how much it should be. And so if I come back here now, I think the tree should be a little bit bigger. So let's take the random size and increase that. Yeah, I think that's okay. And yeah, so whatever changes we make now, it will automatically adjust. See. So the river adjusts, and accordingly the trees and everything adjusts as well. Okay. And you can also like, what we can do is we can take like a transform in here for the river. And so if I decide to rotate it, you'll get like, you can also adjust the rotation of the river. See. So if I make it 90 degrees or 80 degrees, then you can have the river cut through a different direction. So you can do stuff like that as well. Okay, for what I had done in the end was I had put like a poly reduce at the end of this, just to sort of make it look a little more stylized, you know. So I can take a poly reduce, which is like an optimized node. Okay, so just put in a poly reduce here, and turn on use only original point positions. That I'll show you what happens, and get the percentage down to 1%. So see, it'll like and then if you turn on this, you'll notice like it doesn't generate like the odd colors. See, like the colors are better. And or you can try to do like an output polygon count, which is also fine. Like we can lower it. Yeah, so if you want to do like something slightly fancy, like a low poly environment, and then just apply like a normal at the end. So if you take a normal at the absolute end here, and just like, you know, by face area, and just lower it till everything looks like faceted. See, so you can do something more fancy like that. And now here's the best part, right? So once you've done this much, then like these points are available to you. And if you want to use this for more complex work, so if you want to set up like proper instancing here and put in like actual trees and grass, then you just need to replace, you know, like these guys with like actual trees and grass, and it'll work. So just to give you like a very simple idea before I close this, is I brought in like an actual tree. Like I got like a free model of a pine tree. So what you want to do is in Houdini, if you want to do instancing, there is a method called as packed primitives. So I won't get into the explanation of it, but what you do is if you bring in an object as a packed primitive, it's kind of like a proxy. So what I can do is I can just take a file node, and I have like the pine tree that I had just loaded up, and it's pretty big. So I'm going to take a transform, and it has to come down to about 0.05. So it's, or wow, it's still big. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's still really big. Okay, so take another transform and lower it again. Let's try 0.015 or 0.1. Yeah, 0.15 is fine. Okay, now what you do is, which is important, is in the file node, before we import, you set the load to pack this primitive. Okay, and what it does is it imports it in, like it'll show it as a bounding box for display and then render it properly, but you say display as full geometry. Okay, so which is fine. And then we replace this here, and it will pick it up fairly, you know, well. So if I move out, see, so now you have like actual trees. So the same way, if you want, like you can bring in grass and replace that as well. So that will work just fine. So if it gets too heavy, it sort of like adjusts the whole thing. See, so like the ones too far, you're seeing them as boxes, and then it sort of like adjusts. So it does like an automatic LOD when you have like very heavy geometry as packed primitives. But there you go. You know, like we can reduce the, now it's slowing down because it also has to calculate like the poly reduce. Yeah, so there you go. So this is how you make, you know, a fairly decent procedural landscape. So I will make the original file, like my original file, available as well, because it might have a few extra things in there that you can use. But let's do one thing. Let's go back to the basic box because this is looking a little weird now. But there you go. So yeah, so that's basically it. So this is how you build a procedural landscape. I don't know what the next lesson will be, but I'll try and keep making projects like these so you can sort of use them or apply them in your work somewhere. So I think something like this you can use for like, I don't know, like game environments. You can, or even if you're doing like standard, terrains and you want to like scatter geometry and stuff, or scatter, trees and plants and stuff on it, you can do, things like that as well. So yeah, so that's basically it. So I'll see you in the next lesson.